Ashayam Shanai Lohav Tilal Rabbi. Tehillah Tanai Aber Pivi Barech Ko Basar Shem Kocho Lilam Vaed Vanachnu Barak Yah Me'atav Yad Olam Hallelujah. Those in mourning or observing a yard site, please rise in body or in spirit. We will recite together the Mourner's Kaddish on page 12 in our Siddur. And for those of you online, of course, feel free to enable your microphones as well. Mourner's Kaddish, page 12. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah v'yalmad yivarak kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agalav izman kariv imru amen. Yeheshmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemedi kudusha brichu la'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bioma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'meromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. After that very quick mincha service, we're going to get right into it. We'll talk a little bit more later, but let's continue with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the Shabbat in, the angels, page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu moachem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamalachim Shalom, shalom, melech hakado. Mi melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 15. Lechu neranen al Adonai, nari aletzor yishenu, nekad mapanav b'todah, bizmirot nari alo, nekad mapanav b'todah, bizmirot nari alo. I'll talk to you about him. We'll take him for all the Arba'im shana kupidor va'umaram to'e levavim ve'im lo yadu l'rachai asher nishbati v'api im yavon al menuchati. Page 16. Shiru ladonai, shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz, shiru Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Sapru Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Ha'amim Nifleotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, Mehulal Meod, No Rahu, Al Kol Elohim, Ki Kol Elohim, Ha'amim Elilim, Vadonai, Shamayim Asab, Od V'Hadar, Lefanav, Oz V'Tiferet, Behemiktasho, Avul Adonai, Mishpechot Amim, Avul Adonai, Kavod Va'os, Avul Adonai, Kevod Shemo, Seu Mincha, Uvol Chatzrotav, Ishtachavul Adonai, Behadrak Kodesh, Hilu Mipanav Kol Haaretz, Imru Vagoyim, Adonai Malach, Afti Kontevel, Balatimot, Yadin Amim B'Meisharim, Yismechu Hashamayim, B'Tagel Haaretz Yigeram Hayam, Umelo Yalo Sadai, V'chol asher bo az yiranenu kol atzeyar b'fnei Adonai ki vahal ishpot haaretz ishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim be'emunato ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 Adonai Malach Tagela Aretz Yismechuyim Rabbi Malach. Oh, no, late. Elohim. Orzaru ala tzadik, or Israel Simcha, Simchut tzadikim padonai, Nodula Zecher Kodsho, page 18. Mizmor Shel Shir Chadash, Kiniflot Nasao, Shel Yiminos Roa Kodsho, Tim. Israel Chov say Aretz, Ekishvat Elohim, who are really my forest, peaceful with America. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim b'mei sharim, page 19. Adonai malach yegezu amim yoshev kruvim tarara aretz, and I'm Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Please rise in body and spirit as we continue with the psalm that we recite on Shabbat, Psalm 29, page 20. Mizmor leDavid, Avul Adonai b'nei Elim, Avul Adonai kavod va'os, Avul Adonai Kivot Shemo, Ishtachavu Ladonai Behadrat Kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod nehirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayeshaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkideim kemoegel, Lebanon v'Sirion, Kimoven re'emim, Kol Adonai chotzei lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yachol elayalot, Vayachasaf be'arot, Uvechalo kulo omer kabod. Adonai lama buli yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech liolam, Adonai oz liamo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Please be seated as we welcome the Shabbat bride, Lechado D, page 21. Lechado di likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmianu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet Belitila lechado di likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha ki mekor, Haberach merosh mikedem, Nesucha sof maaseh, B'macha Shabbat techila, Lechado di likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Mikdash melech, Ir melucha kumitzei mitoch ha'afecha ramalach shevet v'yemecha ba'acha v'hu yachamol alayechem la lechado di likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela hitana ari me'afar kumi leave she bigday Tifartecha mi al yad ben Yishai Betalach mi korba el nafshi Geralach lechadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat kabela Hitoreri kiva orech Kumi uri shir da be'eri kvod Adonai alayek nigla lechado di likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela lo Shia v'lo tikala mi'ima tishtochachi umata mi'ima achechasu ani ami v'nibneta iralti la lechado di likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela v'hayulin shisab shosaich v'rach Kol meval aich yasis alaich Elohaich kimsos katan Al kala lechadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Yaminu small tifroti v'et Adonai Taritzi aliyadish Ben parts even ismecha. Venagila lecha dodi likrakala. B'nei Shabbat ne'kabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala. Gam besimcha. Uvetzola tochem unei am segula. Boi chala. Boi chala lecha dodi likrakala. B'nei Shabbat ne'kabela. Lecha dodi likrakala. B'nei Shabbat ne'kabela. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please be seated as we continue on page 23 with a song for Shabbat, Psalm 92. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Tzadik kata hamar yifarach ke'erez b'lebanon yiskem shetulim b'veit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Adyenuchon B'Seivam Deshenim V'Rananim Yiyu Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Turi velo havlatabo. Page 24. Mikolot mayim rabihim adirim. Mishpereyam Madir Bamarom Adonai Edotecha Ne'emenu me'od Leveit Chanav HaKodesh Adonai Liorech Yamim. We ask those again in mourning or observing your site to please rise for Kaddish Tome and enabling your microphones if you desire. Bottom of page 24. Yit Gadal, Yit Gadash, Shemei Rabab, Yalmad, Yibarak, Kirutev, Yamlich Malchute, the Chayechon of Yomechon, of the Chaye, the whole Beit Yisrael, Bagalav, Izman Karib, Imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Le'elam Lamei Almaya. Yiparach, Vishtabach, Vipar, Vitramam, Vitnase, Vitadar, Vitalev, Vitalal, Shemedi Kudasha, Brechu, Laila Minko Birchata, Vishirata, Tushbechata, Venechemata, Damiran Milma, Vimru, Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba, Min Shemaya, Chaim Aleinu, V'Alko Yisrael, V'Imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Meromav, Huya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu v'Alko Yisrael B'Imru Amen. Again, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So many of you know I've been down in Atlanta for, my God, 31 years now. And before that, I'm from Baltimore, and I have a brother there. He lives in the suburban DC area now. Name's Ryan. He's younger than me, about 3 years younger than me. But we went to the same high school. We were involved in the same youth group. And he looks enough like me that he got really annoyed when people would call him Jordan all the time. So he went out of his way to not be Jordan. And easy for me to sit here and judge. I mean, I'm the oldest of two, right? So I didn't have anybody that I could imitate or choose not to imitate. But he got sick and tired of being the youngest guy, and so he um, at times would tell teachers, my get very upset about it. My name's not Jordan. I'd really go off on them a little bit. Would drop out of some of the things that I did because he needed to forge his own path, and that's fine. And for what it's worth, we get along fine. He lives 700 miles away. I wouldn't say we talk every day. He's not much of a phone talker, but we keep in touch and we know how everybody's doing. And when his son was on the Misha Baruch list not too long ago, it was there because he told me what was going on, and thank God he's doing better. But sometimes there are gaps in life where you just don't keep in touch as well. Now, I said to you before that Ryan and I look somewhat alike, and so he got annoyed with being the same person. But that's not what this week's Torah portion is about, right? Well, here we have two people that are twins, and they're both male, and they look nothing alike at all, right? You got one that comes out very hairy and is kind of a hunter guy, right? That's Esav. And then you've got one and Yitzchak, he dwells in tents. It tells us he's smooth skinned. And he's just a studier. He's not a hunter. He's the opposite of Esav. But Esav came out first, so that makes him the oldest by seconds, because we know Yaakov means hanging on the heel, right? So he was literally grabbing at the heel, and he was the youngest. So when after my father, blessed memory, passed away in 2014, I was helping my mother with her estate plan. And Ryan always felt that the mom and dad loved me more. Of course, I disagreed and said they love us equally, and that's what our parents always told us. But I joked with my mom at that time, and I said, I know you love us equally, but you love me more equally, right? And so when you split things down the middle, my share should be a little bigger than his share. She knew I was just kidding. I mean, I wasn't trying to lobby for anything or push for anything. And I'm glad I didn't get any favoritism in that respect. That's not what I was looking for, and that's not what happened. It's all fine. Not so much in this week's Torah portion, though, right? So what you had in this week's Torah portion was, it was a really big deal back in biblical times. If you were the firstborn, it meant you had rights to land and other things that those that were not firstborn didn't get. So Rebecca, the mother of these twins and Isaac's wife, helped play a ruse on Isaac, who was blind at the time. You all know the story. And Jacob came in with hairy arms that were, I guess, it says in the Torah, I forget if it's goat or whatever it was. And Isaac even says this, the voice sounds like Jacob. The arm feels like Esav, but the voice sounds like Jacob. And Jacob kind of swore up and down that he was in fact Esav, and he got the blessing. And so where this Torah portion takes us is Esav comes in the room and says, "Here's your meal." And Isaac says, "What are you talking about? I just had your meal." And Esav's like, "No, you didn't." And Isaac's like, "Well, who was that just came in?" And it talks about a loud scream that you hear from Isaac, and then ultimately from Esav, who literally begs, "Baracheni gam ani avi, please bless me too, Dad." And Dad, in essence, said, "Well, I'll give you a blessing. It's not going to be as good as the one I gave Isaac. That's the real, as one I gave Jacob. That's the real deal. That's over and done with. So basically, I wish you well and may you be blessed. Amen." It wasn't much of anything. And obviously, as you know from there, Rebecca helped Jacob run away, and he ran away for a long time, and it would be 20 years before. And Rebecca was already dead at the time, before the brothers ever saw each other again. And there's even a story. If you read the word when they met again, it says Vayishakehu, that Esav kissed his brother, but there's dots on the word, which tends to make some commentators think that he bit his brother. Bit, kissed, I don't know if we'll ever know. They were nice to each other afterwards, but what a pity that they had to go through all that. So this is kind of timely thinking of Rabbi Rosenthal's sermon just last week, right? I mean, he talked about you might be sitting at the table for Thanksgiving. That was yesterday, right? And you might be sitting at the Thanksgiving dinner table with people who have different views than you, whether it's obviously political is the hot topic these days, but whether it's political, sports, life in general. I don't approve of the person you married or the person you're dating or the person you're not dating or whatever. It doesn't, the people don't always get along at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut than to make waves. But obviously, in an ideal world, the way to do it would be to find common ground. And that's what we hope. To the extent that you had these issues at your table yesterday, I hope you were able to resolve them. When people tell me, and not to be somber here, but when people tell me that they just don't get along with their sibling, I say, because you all know about my son, and I say, well, my older son, I wish he still had his sibling because they got along great, and he doesn't have him anymore. So, family, you don't get to choose, but you do get them. And may they be a blessing to all of us. May, whether they're your twin brother or sister, your older brother or sister, younger, your cousins, your nephews, your uncles, aunts, grandparents, parents, children, whatever it may be, grandchildren, God willing, may we all realize the importance of family. Shabbat Shalom. And now I would like everybody in this room to shake hands with at least 10 people that they don't know. All right, we're struggling here a little bit with that one. I also noticed that the Shabbat candles, unfortunately, were not lit. Given the time, they will not be lit, and I'm sorry about that. Hopefully, you got to them in time in your home, which was, 10 after 5 tonight, I believe, or 5:10 or 5:11, somewhere in there. 5:11. There we got the official word. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. So certainly those of you on the Zoom boxes can say hi to each other as well. But without further ado, we will continue
Shabbat Shalom
with the Mariv service, middle of page 28.
Shabbat Shalom.
Umhavir yomu mehevi laila, mabdil ben yomu vein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, hamidim lo kalem le'olam ba'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hamariv aravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, Amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shokveinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויארך ימינו, ויארך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. Yahavatcha testimony olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. El melech ne'eman, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Mi'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartabam v'shivdecha b'veitecha V'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shochbecha v'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'yu l'totafo bein einecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha bayim shema tizmu mitzvot tashin. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Malchut Ratzon Kiblu Aleihem Moshe Bnei Yisrael Achanu Shirah B'Simcha Rabba V'Yameru Kulam Mi Chamocha B'Elim Adonai Mi Chamocha Nerar B'Kodesh Norat Tehilot Sefer Heleb Malchutecha Ra'uvanecha B'Keam Lifnei Moshe Ze'elianu v'yamru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov V'galom yad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. We'll read together the Hashkivenu, the prayer for peace, in the English on page 33. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise to you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. Ushmor Tzeitin L'chaim L'shalom et Aviyad Olam V'Ros Al Nesukat Shlomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Aporei Sukat Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim. Please rise as we continue with Vishamru, page 34. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asor et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam ay beini uveim bnei Yisrael ot hilei olam Yishei sheriamim asa Adonai et hashamayim mi'et haaretz Uvayom Ashvi Shabbat Vayinafash. We remain standing as we recite silently the Mari Vamida pages 35 through 38. And in doing so, please remember to include The paragraph near the bottom of page 36 for Rosh Chodesh, as we leave the bitter month of Cheshvan behind and enter the happy month of Kislev. Today's the first day of Rosh Chodesh, page 36. But we begin on 35, A or B, silent. If you're still reciting the Amidah, please feel free to continue. We'll move forward with our service with the Vayachulu on page 47. Often that's the paragraph done right before the Kiddush, and that'll actually work out really well today because the rest of it requires a minyan. So we'll go right from Vayachulu on 47 to Kiddush on 49. Vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam Vayechal Elohim b'yom hashvi melachto asher asa Vayishpot b'yom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Savri Marnan Rabbanan Rabbatai, Baruch Atah Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Morei Peri Hagafen, Baruch Atah Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Kitshanu B'mitzvotav V'ratza b'anu, V'shabbat Kodsho B'yavav Ratzon Inchilanu, Zikaron Le'maaseh V'reishit, Ki hu Yom Techila L'Mikra'ei Kodesh, Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu Vacharta, Yotanu Kidashta, Mikol Hamim, V'Shabbat Kodshecha, V'Yahava V'Ratzon Hinechaltanu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. We will continue. Please rise in body and spirit. We continue with the Aleinu, page 51. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורל עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים, וכתבים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shemayin. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayomahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. You may be seated. This week, we note the passing of Linda Weiner, mother of PJ and Adam, Joe and Claire, and Dan and Amanda, the loving grandmother of 4 grandsons, the sister of Bryna, Ike, and Lewis, and the sister-in-law of Steve and Diane. We also note the Shloshim period, which continues for Dr. Martin Edelman, husband of Priscilla Edelman, father of Howard and Paula Edelman, and Deborah and David Strauss, brother to David and Sheila Edelman, and the grandfather of Carly and Shelby Edelman and Andrea Strauss, and the great-grandfather of Bodie. We also note the Shloshim period of Betty Schaefer, mother of Jeff and Kathy Schaefer and Judy Lynn, and the grandmother of Lauren and Samuel. We take note of the yard sites this evening and through tomorrow of Esther Alterman, the mother of Joanne Singer, Rena Kane Cohen, the mother of Ezra Cohen, Max Fish, the grandfather of Terry Erbisfield, Edith Eisenberg, mother to Sandy Abrams, Philip Kleiman, the grandson of William Kleiman, Harry D. Schechter, father-in-law of Joel O'Bell, Sidney Schlosser, the loved one of Jay Schlosser, and William L. Warrenker, the husband of Cecile Warrenker. We also note the 11-month period of mourning for those who join us for Minyan morning and evening. Janice Salzman, Florence Gussman, Susan Udovin, Jay Hammer, Linda Berzofsky, Glenn Evans, Lucy Carson, Arlene Wildstein, Patricia Cohen, Dr. Edward Jones Smith, Robin Mizell, Lou Schloss, Philip Kaplan, Brandon Reisman, all the victims of the Israel War, Charlotte Korenblum, Shirley Miller, Stuart Galashoff, Edna Helfer, and Susan Caller. I hope I did not omit any names, but if I did, my apologies. Know that we are here for you and with you. Those in mourning or observing a yard site, please rise and enable your microphones if you desire for the Mourners Kaddish, Kaddish on page 52. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
Yalma Divara Kirute, V'yamlich Malchute, Chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayei, D'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav, V'zman Kariv, V'imru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, L'Olam L'Omei
Amen.
Omaya. Yiparach, V'yishtabach, V'yipa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kudashah Brichu, Elam Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechemata, Damiran Ba'olma V'Imru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru, Amen.
Amen.
Yoseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru, Amen.
Amen.
Before we conclude our service with Yigdal, very, very few announcements because I don't really have any. Nikki Novotny will do a much, much better job of that tomorrow morning at our services, which Rabbi Sandler and I will be leading at 9:30 in the morning, along with, let's see, we got Larry, Larry Gold actually is helping lead our service tomorrow morning. We have a new member, Bob Granitz, who'll be chanting the Haftorah. All that happens at 9:30. Mincha, Mariv and Havdalah is at the earliest time we ever have it during the year, 4:30 p.m. After this, it only gets later as the sun sets later. So but that's nice and early tomorrow. So if you're already in shul and you're hanging out and you say, gosh, I only have to stay for a couple more hours. Take a nap on the couch somewhere, and then you stay and you're here for the end of Shabbat, 4:30. It should be over by 6. Other than that, the only thing I can think of that's coming up this month that comes to memory, because December can be a bit of a slow month at times with vacations and schools letting out, is the fireworks display for Hanukkah, right? That's Wayne Newworth's doing the 15th. Does that sound right? Sunday the 15th. But it's supposed to be a real explosion. I'm sorry. Anyway, all other announcements you'll have to come back for tomorrow morning at 9:30 and join the service either live, we'll be here, or virtually. We conclude the service with Yigdal, page 53. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach nimtza v'yened el metziyuto echad v'yen yachid ki yichudo nelam v'gam min sof v'yachtuto ein lo d'mutagut v'yeino guf lo na'aruch elav kedushato kamon l'chol davar asher nivrad rishon v'in reshit l'reshito hino adon olam mechono tzar yoreg idulato malchuto shefan v'uato netano elana shesegulato v'tifarto Lo kam Yisrael k'Moshe od Navi umabid et emunato Torah metnatan li'amo el Al yad nevion eman beito Lo yachal yitfa'el V'lo yamir dato Li'olamim l'zulato Tzofeh v'yodea Zitarenu Mabid l'sof davar b'kamato Gomel ish chesed kimi ifalo noten lerachshara kerish ato yishlach leketz hayamin meshichenu liftod mechakeketz yeshuato metim yechayel berov chasto baruch haread shem tehilato metim yechayel berov chasto Baruch Hadeyad, Shem Tehilato. Wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom and a Shabbat of warmth. Have a good evening, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you,
Shabbat
George.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Have a good evening.
Rena,
too,
did you
Jody.
have something to tell everyone?
Laura.
Yeah, I was telling everybody that Judy Marks is leading.